So, after 2 seasons in the Bundesliga, we claimed the league title and the domestic cup, meaning we are free to move on to pastures new. It was difficult resigning from Dortmund after building such a good team there, but this is Glory Hunter and we have to find somewhere new. And not long after our resignation, we were invited to an interview with Marseille in Ligue 1. After a lengthy interview process where I basically told them everything they wanted to hear, it wasn't long before Marseille offered me the job. And on the 3rd of June, I accepted the role and got commencing in my new role in France. So this is the team that we have inherited here at Olympique Marseille in Ligue 1. They finished 9th last season and they don't have a particularly good squad. In fact, their best player, Salih Ozkan, is a player I sold them from Dortmund who I deem surplus to requirements, and he is their best player here, which shows you we've taken a bit of a downgrade leaving Dortmund to come to Marseille. It's going to be difficult to make them title challengers within 2 seasons, but we're going to do everything we possibly can. They have £70 million in the bank, and £20 million of that is available for us to spend. They do have some high-value players that I can hopefully move on and get some money back in that kitty to go then improve the squad. There's a number of players that I want to look at and try and bring in, and hopefully we can do that in the next 2 months before the season starts. So I will go do that off camera, and then we'll rejoin you around about September time. So the first player I brought in was Desiree Doué. He came in for 35 million. He will add strength and depth to that centre midfield role. Ivan Fresneda has come from Sporting Lisbon, 6.75 million. He'll come in as our starting right back. Nicholas Sattelberg will add some squad depth to the defensive midfield position. He came in for 5 million. Bought Dennis Seaman from Dortmund, £10 million, so we bought him at Dortmund. I've now brought him to Marseille. Did bring him in as a starting number 1, but then another goalkeeper became available a few weeks later, who I also brought in. So we've got 2 very good goalkeepers coming into the club. Matija Popovic was available for 15 million, and we needed some squad depth in the striker position, given the number of players we've let go. Lewis Gilherm has come in to add some squad depth on that right-hand side. He will play as that inverted winger there on the right-hand side, giving us some squad depth there and some quality in those wide areas. Lenny Yoro has come in for 32 million as the centre-back. He's been linked with Manchester United in real life. It looks like he's going there. 32 million we brought him in for. He's already worth between 74 and 88. And he looks quality. He will be our starting centre-back. And to partner him, we've brought in El Shadail Bichiabu. He is a left-footed centre-back. He will partner Lenny Yoro there. We've got 2 pretty good French centre-backs there as our starting partnership going into the season. 38.5 million. El Yawahi will be our starting striker. Really pleased to get this kid through the door. He looks exceptional, and I think he will tear it up in France in our formation with the squad that we've now managed to build. Manu Kone has come in as well for 25 million. He will be a starting centre midfielder. Another French player that we've managed to bring in, adding some homegrown quota to the squad. Very, very good. Kone and Desiree Doué in centre midfield. Pretty impressive. I needed some squad depth, and this lad was available for around 7 or 8 million, so we brought him in as well. He will add competition to Guilherme out there on the right-hand side. Gustavo Sa was too good of opportunity not to pick up. He's a wonder kid centre midfielder. Him and Desiree Doué will compete for that centre midfield attacking role that we play in our formation, but he looks quality. We brought him in for around about 20 million, I think. He looks very, very good. I don't think I've had him before, and I'm really excited to use him in this team. And I told you earlier that we brought in another goalkeeper. Guillaume Restes was available for 30 million. We brought him in. He will probably be our starting goalkeeper, and Dennis Seaman will probably be the backup. But they're both very young. They're both very good. They've both got high potential. And I'm looking forward to using both of them in the squad. We also brought a couple of freebies in, as you can see there. Nathaniel Nwuso has just added some squad depth to the goalkeeping position. He'll be 3rd choice behind Seaman and Restes. And Tommy Doyle was available for free, a defensive midfielder that we've managed to bring in. So I think Sattelberg will start. and then Tommy Doyle will just play back up to Sattelberger. It looked like we spent a lot of money. We did, but we also made a lot of money, as you can see on the right-hand side. I'm not going to go through every player individually, but you can see there that we made 233 million by selling a number of players. I'll sort that by value so you can see it there. So we got 43 million for Belerde, we got 35 million for Kondogbia, Rongier went out for 32, Ndaye, Milan, 25 million, Leeds took Vitinha off his hands for 18, Pau Lopez went for 15, potentially rising to 20, and then we made quite a number of other squad player departures with some decent money. So we did really, really well in the transfer window. So we're going to play our usual tactic. It is one that I really, really like. This is sorted by best 11. So it's actually put Salih Ozkan in as the defensive midfielder, which I'm happy with. Looks like he'll be a decent player in Ligue 1. It just wasn't for me at Dortmund. I had better options there. At the minute here, we don't really have those options. Sattelberger will probably compete with him for that position. But the other players, Kone and Doué, really excited to see those two play together in centre midfield. Wahi up front looked brilliant. Really happy with the signing of Lewis Guilherme there on the right. And the defence now looks solid. Really excited about Bichiabu and Yoros, the centre-back pairing. Fresneda is a quality right-back. Restes is a quality goalkeeper. Merlin was already here and Sarr was already here. So they're still going to be first choice in the team. They both look good. I'm happy with both of them. Ismail Assar was one of the best players here. And you can already see he's got off to a very, very good start. 4 goals in 2 starts there as the inside forward in this formation. And in terms of that start, it is 4 wins from 4. The only big test, I guess, was home to Monaco, which we dominated 4-1. And we've won every other game as well. And as you can see, Ismail Assar, 2 goals there. He is really, really good for this team. So we'll now progress through the season and see how well we've done with this new Marseille squad. Our 5th game of the season was at home to Nice, and we got off to a good start when Salih Ozkan scored a header from a corner on 20 minutes. And just before the break, Ismail Assar intercepted a pass, giving it to Eli Wahi, whose individual brilliance saw us go 2-0 up. And our 3rd goal had to wait until the 83rd minute, but Manuel Kone scored a curling shot from the edge of the box. The score finished 3-0 and we were completely dominant, and that was 5 wins from 5. And we made it 7 from 7 with back-to-back wins against Lille and Havre. We dropped our first points of the season with a 0-0 draw away at Lyon, but it's a result I would have taken at the start of the season. Dropping those points did not deter us though, as we went on a 5-game winning streak, beating Toulouse 5-0, Rennes 4-1, Lens 2-1, Strasbourg 3-1, and Caen 7-2. Away to Montpellier was going to be a tricky test for us though, and on 45 minutes they took the lead just before half-time. And it took while the 81st minute for the equaliser to come, Eli Wahi tapping in at close range. It finished 1-1 despite our complete dominance in the game. Next up was a home game against Paris Saint-Germain, the biggest club in France, and we held them to a 0-0 draw, despite them dominating possession and having a few more shots than us. That didn't deter us though, as we went into the halfway point with back-to-back wins away at Reims and FC Lorient. And at the halfway point, we are undefeated, winning 14 from 17 and only drawing 3. We have a 4-point lead on Paris Saint-Germain, and I couldn't have asked for a better start to our time at Marseille. And by the time February had come round, the January transfer window had opened and closed. We'd won another 3 games in a row, and we were now sat 9 points clear of Paris. And in addition to that, we'd played every round of the Coupe de France away from home and had managed to progress through to the quarter-finals. So first player I brought in the January transfer window was Yotta. He actually came to us around about the 20th of December. He was released by Al Ittihad, despite getting 28 goals in 62 games. So he was there available for free, just no contract with anyone, free agent. We managed to attract him to come here, and he's certainly going to provide some massive strength in those wide areas. Ismail Assar has been fantastic, but we did need a bit of a backup there on the left-hand side, and he's going to come in and do that for us. Great signing for us on a free. Fabio Silva's next up. I've signed him on loan just to give us some strength and depth to the striker position. We do have El Wahi, who's been fantastic. We do have Popovic, who's come in and done really well when we've needed him to as well. But I felt like we just needed that third player there just in case we suffered with tiredness, with suspensions, with injuries as we get further into the season. We're topped by 9 points. I don't want to let that slip. I need to make sure we've got enough players in each position for the end of the season, because I know, and you'll know from playing Football Manager, those players start getting tired in the last few months of the season and you're struggling around to make sure you've got a fully fit starting 11. He will be able to help us with that. I made a couple of young signings really for the future of the club. Estevao, we all know, has a high ceiling on Football Manager. Sometimes it doesn't turn out that good. Sometimes it does turn out pretty well. His stats, his attributes here are not overly great, but I just thought for the price, we'll bring him in and then maybe he will develop. Even after we've left Marseille, maybe he will develop there. Junior Krupe will be Fabio Silva's natural replacement for next season. Silva will just be here on loan for the rest of the season, and then I think Krupe will be another 6 months, 12 months older and can potentially add some strength and some character to that striker role. We all know, again, high potential for this lad. Could turn out great for Marseille in the future. And we didn't really let anyone of any significance go, as you can see there on your screen. Just some low-value players were moved on. So this is the squad sort of by average rating as of the 4th of February. And Popovic, like I said, has come in and done a really good job there. 8 goals in 5 starts for him. Gustavo Sarr's been brilliant. 14 goal contributions in 9 starts. What a player he is. Kone has been the most regular player we've had that's up there. 19 starts for him. Brilliant centre midfielder. El Yawahi, as I said, 14 and 18. What a player. He's been brilliant. Ismail Assar, so underrated. When I came in at Marseille, I looked at the entire squad and I didn't really single him out as a player I thought I'll keep him in starting 11. However, 18 goal contributions in 17 starts. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been brilliant. Lewis Guilherme there on the right-hand side, he's done really well. Quinton Merlin was the other player that was here when we arrived. He's been fantastic. Left back, very, very good. And then Lenny Yoro, Nicholas Sattelberger, brilliant. Yotta's already got 3 goal contributions in 3 starts for us. Salih Ozkan, the player I let go at Dortmund's been good as well. And Restes has kind of made the goalkeeper's position his. Dennis Seaman not really had much of a look in. And Desiree Doué has done really well as well. 20-year-old, 9 goal contributions in 15 starts. I'm really, really over the moon with how well things have gone. I couldn't have asked for it to be better. Paris have not had a good season. By their own standards, they've lost 3 games, and none of those have been to us. Losing away at Brest, Reims, and Nice. And then they've drawn 3. One of them was away to us. We have to travel to them, which could be a bit of a decider. It could get them back into it if we suffer our first defeat to them. But yeah, it's unbeaten. Unbeaten with a really newly formed squad. It's been fantastic. But we did, like I say, manage to pick up some really good players that have really helped deliver what we've needed to deliver. And I didn't expect this at season 1. I thought gel the squad together, get them a season under the belt playing together, and then season 2 will be the season that we challenge Paris. But yeah, we've been brilliant. Really, really good. So these are our remaining fixtures, and we're going to kick it off with away to Nice, and then I will see you again at the end of the season. Nice have a particularly good side, and they've already beaten Paris Saint-Germain here at their home stadium. And after 6 minutes, we didn't get off to the best of starts when Bouhanni put Nice ahead. However, around about the 32nd minute, we did pull it level when there was some great work down the right, switched across to Jota, who found himself in the box and equalising from close range. And round about 6 minutes later, we'd taken the lead from our own goal kick with some neat build-up play. Louis Guilherme finding himself round about the edge of the box, making it 2-1. However, 10 minutes into the second half, Nice managed to get their own equaliser when Kovacevic scored a neat strike with his left foot. But it didn't last long when some great play from Merlin down the left found Krupa Jr. in the middle, and we were 3-2 up. And in stoppage time, we made it 4, and Krupa Jr. got his second of the game when we absolutely dominated some possession, and Krupa Jr. found himself in the box, and a strike with his left foot made it 4-2, and we were taking all 3 points. A 1-0 victory over Lille followed, but we suffered our first defeat of the season away at Havre. We'd beaten them 5-1 at the home ground earlier in the season in the cup competition, but when we travelled here in the league, we just couldn't get going. The score finished 2-1, and the home team had played with 10 men for the majority of the second half. The defeat didn't deter us though, as we then went on a 3-game winning streak, beating Lyon, Toulouse and Rennes. We then travelled to RC Lens, but things didn't get off to the best of starts. On 10 minutes, Restes made a bit of a mess of a back pass, and Simeone made it 1-0. And it was 2-0 just before 20 minutes when a long strike from Samed took a bit of a deflection, and RC Lens were 2-0 up. And I'm not quite sure what happened on the 30-minute mark, because Pereira da Costa picked up a loose ball from our free kick and managed to run the entire length of the pitch, slotting the ball past Restes and making it 3-0 to Lens. We did manage to claw a goal back just before the break, though, to give us half a chance, and the ball found Sally Ozkan in the middle, and he slotted it home. And after giving the lads a rollicking at half-time, they came out fighting in the second half, and we made it 3-2 10 minutes in, when Fabio Silva slotted a Fresneda across home. And it looked like we were going to get back into it, but then just 10 minutes after our second goal, Ismail Assar made a reckless challenge on Timothy Weah, and he saw red. As a consequence, we never found that equaliser, and RC Lens really deserved the victory. However, it was our second defeat of the season, and I was starting to hope we weren't going to bottle it. Back-to-back victories over Strasbourg and Caen give me a little bit of hope, but then a home draw against Montpellier just before we travelled to Paris Saint-Germain made me feel a little bit nervous. The trip to Paris was probably going to be a decider as to who would go on and win the league, but on 20 more minutes, El Yawahe put us 1-0 up. That lead only lasted a minute though before Gyökeres made it 1-1, and PSG were 2-1 up when Nuno Mendes struck a really great shot past Restes on 43 minutes. I gave the lads as much encouragement as I could at half-time, and it took the 71st minute for El Yawahe to get his second of the game with a wonderful strike from the edge of the box. We held out for the 2-2 draw, and with just 3 home games remaining, I was confident that the title was going to be ours. The quarter-final of the Coupe de France was a fairly easy run-in for us as we won 5-0 and progressed through to the semi-finals. But after a 0-0 draw with Reims, it took a penalty shootout for us to get through to the final, where surprisingly we would play AS Monaco. Paris Saint-Germain had gone out in the 11th round at home to RC Lens after a penalty shootout defeat. And after we'd dispatched Reims pretty comfortably 4-0 at home in the league, we needed just 1 win from our remaining 2 games to claim the title. And the nerves of potentially winning the league was eased after just 10 minutes when Estevao scored a wonderful goal with his left foot from the edge of the box. And Ismail Assar made it 2 on the 30-minute mark after he picked up a loose ball and drove at the Lorient defence. And Sarr's brilliance shone again after Merlin played him through, and it was 3-0, and we were cruising towards the league title. Magnacone made it 4 just after the break after he intercepted the loose ball, and some neat play between him and Sarr saw him get in the box and make it 4. That's how the game finished. With the title wrapped up, we finished the season with a home 3-1 win over Saint Etienne. We finished 6 points clear of Paris, and after just 1 season, we'd claimed the league-earned title. All eyes would now be on the Coupe de France Cup final, and after just 14 minutes, it was Monaco who took a surprise lead when Golovin scored a wonderful strike from 25 yards. We tried to G the boys up at half-time, and Lenny Yoro made it 1-1 on the 48th minute with a fine header from our corner. And in the 58th minute, Ismaila Sarr made it 2-1, and we were hopeful of that domestic double. But Monaco was not going to make it easy for us, and Breel Mbolo was given too much space in the box, and it was 2-2. And as the clock ticked down, the game finished 2-2, and we were going to extra time. There wouldn't be any penalties because there was one goal in extra time, and if there was ever a goal to settle a cup final, that was it. A wonder strike from Louis Guilherme meant that we were the Coupe de France winners. Somehow, after just one season, we'd achieved the unachievable. I never thought that after taking over a team that finished in 9th place last season, that we could change them into title contenders and cup winners contenders within a season. But here we are, lifting the Coupe de France after already claiming the Ligue 1 title. And in just one season, we'd somehow managed to topple Paris Saint-Germain and complete France. I don't quite know how we've managed it, if I'm perfectly honest. I mean, the formation that we've got is very, very effective if you've got the right players in those positions. And I felt like the transfers we did pre-season, we were able to make significant money from the players that I didn't particularly want and bring in players who could really adapt to this formation. I just didn't think it'd work that quick. I thought we'd probably finish second or third, maybe fourth, qualifying for the Champions League while progressing significantly from where they finished last season. But, you know, we went so long unbeaten and that run just kept going and kept going and kept going. And we ended up suffering a couple of defeats. But the fact that, you know, we drew with Paris at home, we drew with them away, just full of praise for what we've been able to achieve. Really, really great. I've really enjoyed being at Marseille. It's a club I've kind of always wanted to manage on Football Manager, but never really done it or never had an opportunity in any other type of saves I've done. But I've really enjoyed being here at Marseille and taking this club forward. It's been great. But that is it. That's France complete, and it's time to find another challenge as part of the Glory Hunt to Save. So after just 3 seasons, we've managed to complete Germany and France. So it's time for a new challenge. But where will we end up next in Season 4?